Okay, so with the season starting up for me actually this Friday, I want to do some work on dialing in wedge distances, mostly partial wedge distances. So you guys will probably be familiar with work I've done in the past with Larry, with Gareth as well, about having different checkpoints in the swing. A wedge matrix, of course, is what it's generally called. Different distances with different clubs, different lengths of backswings that fill in all these partial distances for you. So for example, a pitching wedge for me goes 138, 140 yards. The gap wedge goes about 120, the sand wedge goes 105, the lob wedge at most is a 90-yard club. So in between all those yardages, and certainly inside 90 yards, what are you supposed to do? And in the past, I had very few reference points, and it cost me a lot of strokes. So since I've been working on that a little bit with the guys, I've gotten a lot better with partial distances, but it's the type of thing you really need to practice and maintain, and I've slacked on it kind of all winter. So I want to do a session right now, talk you guys through all the different yardages I'm going to have, and hopefully help you gain a little bit of this knowledge for your own game. You can go out there and work on your wedges, your kind of partial swing checkpoints, and write down all your yardages so that when you're out there, you can hit more of your partial shots close to the pin. So obviously there is shots inside of 50 yards that you may want to learn a checkpoint for. I'll start with a quick one that's basically about a 30-yard shot. Take your highest lofted wedge. You're going to go waist high and try to finish at waist high. Now, the reason you don't want to go waist high to full finish is you're going to wreck your sequence, you're going to get very armsy, you're going to change the tempo of your swing. You always want to try to keep these partial wedges compact this way and equally compact that way. Do your best. You'll see me, I get a little sloppy with it, but as long as you're conscious of it, you'll improve steadily with that. So let's try this 30-yarder first. Waist. Okay, beginner's luck, 30 yards. So moving on from there, the first checkpoint we talk about is arm parallel to arm parallel. So I'm a left-handed golfer, super simple, lead arm parallel to the ground in the backswing, that's the top of the swing. Trail arm, which is my left arm, parallel in the follow through to the ground. That should give me, for me, 50 yards. Now, what I will say is you guys will go through these checkpoints. You'll probably have different lofts. I'm starting with 60, then I'm going to go to 54 and 50. You guys might have different lofts. You may have different swing speeds. You don't have to equal my yardages. You just have to note the yardage that it produces for you. Okay, so 55. I mean, I'm fine with that. Maybe a little bit better attempt. Nope, actually hit that fat. Okay, so let's try that again and try to get a little bit closer to the actual number. I think I probably got a bit long in the backswing. It's a little more compact here. Okay, so I've immediately identified that I've got a bit of an issue here with making it actually cut off of the yardage. So what I'm feeling is a little bit long and kind of extra force being put into the follow through. I'm going to try to make my tempo a bit more even. When I do that, I get a better yardage. If you find you're hitting them long, honestly, or even short, check the following. Did you go super long in the backswing, long and drifty, and then have to decel? That can affect 100 things. You can end up hitting it short that way, long that way. You can duff it, you can thin it. So one, make sure your checkpoint position is good, and then two, make sure your tempo is nice and even. Don't feel it kind of slow then quick, and don't feel quick then decel. Those would be things that can get your yardages out of whack. So let's move on to the next one. So I moved it back to about 65, 66 yards. I've got my sand wedge now, for me, is a 54 degree. I'm going to make the exact same swing and hopefully get that 65 to 70 yard shot with the exact same motion I just made with the other club. That was a bit thin. Okay, so I'm feeling this one be a little tough to start with. My contact's not good. Yeah, okay, so something's obviously quite a bit off. So we got to figure out why I'm having so much trouble. I think I'm decelling, so I'm going to guess that I'm either getting long or I'm getting sort of like out of tempo and kind of slow in the backswing. I'm going to try to feel a little bit more even and make sure I'm accelerating through the bottom of the shot. Much better. And it actually went about the distance I wanted. So that's the key. I mean, I literally just went through it with you guys there. 3 really poorly struck shots, to me, felt kind of like, and then slow. If you get long or slow in the backswing and then you slow down in the downswing, I think contact becomes sort of a bit of a lottery. You may time it perfectly, you may not. And the first three I went thin, chunk, and then blade basically. And only when I got a little more focused on, okay, make sure the backswing is compact and then strike through with speed. You always want to make sure there's speed. Partial wedges should never be hit super, super lazy. I know you'll see players who are good at that, but for most players, you want to feel that there's acceleration. Otherwise, you're not going to be very consistent. So I moved back another 20 yards. I've got a 50-degree wedge. We're just going to make the exact same motion. I'm going to try to be more aggressive with my strike and make sure I'm not decelling. Decelling is what caused me to hit all those kind of stinky shots in the last clip. So that felt like a nice accelerating motion. I'm very happy with that. So the last one I would do that I would consider a partial wedge, I'm actually going to do with my pitching wedge. And it's, again, another 20 yards on it. I'm going to make the exact same swing. This is a really good shot if it's windy. I mean, obviously I have a full swing club for this, so you won't necessarily always need this shot. But if, let's say, I want to knock one down, take some backspin off it, I'm making the exact same motion I just did, and I should get about a 105-yard shot. Just going to make sure I accelerate again. Felt good. Wonderful, yes. Should practice more often. So that's basically your arm parallel to arm parallel swings. The next thing I would add in is a shot that you get to parallel plus a little bit more. So however you want to feel that, you know, here, you might think of it as the club reaching kind of this angle here where it points a little bit behind you. You might think of it in degrees, you know, the arm from here to here. Let's say it's an extra 20 to 30 degrees. However you want to feel it. Most people will think of it as a 3/4 swing. You know, if this is my full swing and this is my arm parallel swing, we're kind of in between. So we're going to call it a 3/4 swing. I'm going to hit the clubs again. Let's see how far they go in yardage. So as I said before, I'm starting with a bit of a guess. I expect my 3/4 60 to go 75 yards. The idea of the drill is not to set yardages and make yourself go those yardages. The idea is to just hit really good motions, good positions in the backswing with the arm parallel or 3/4, and just see how far the ball goes after, you know, 5-10 shots, and then write that yardage down. Okay, interesting. So I think one of two things would have happened. I didn't strike that great, and I think I got a little shorter than I wanted to be. That was probably closer to arm parallel. So I'm going to feel a touch more length, make sure I get that strike. Expect that'll be 75. There we go. Lovely. Now I've got 54-degree wedge. I've moved the green back a little bit. Same exact motion, 3/4 backswing. Strike through it with some speed. Let's see if I've got the right yardage for this. Make sure I get the 3/4 length in the backswing and accelerate through. That felt like a better, more confident motion, and that's a lot better for yardage. So you can see already I've hit 6 different shots technically with 4 clubs. So I've got all these different yardages. I could keep going obviously with the 3/4 and the 2 longer wedges. And then I add back in the full swing wedges. And then really I actually have 12 different yardages with 4 clubs. So obviously if you look at those yardages as kind of a matrix, when you get inside of 120 yards, for me, I should have tons and tons of different options. So one, it helps to have the confidence to not have to think about, oh, what should I do here? You've got your wedge matrix, just consult it for the first little bit until you internalize it. Pick the club, make a confident swing, and you can be sure if you executed it well, you're going to be at least within 15 feet of the pin and give yourself a chance to make the putt. So hopefully that was helpful, guys. Again, not new information. You've seen this from me before with Gareth and Larry, but I wanted to refresh myself and show that practice is necessary for this. You got to keep sharp with it. And I really recommend you guys do this before the season starts because this is going to be big for me. Playing my first round of golf on Friday, I'm sure I'll have some partial shots, and now I'm a little bit more confident going into it. Thanks for watching.